Okay, so what's another way to look at digging? When we go through the classes, we get taught appropriately, because this is essentially what's happening, to ask the person what's essentially, it's not all we get taught, but essentially what's the worst thing that would happen. Let's say you have cancer, or you stop, there's the example of, oh, I can't stop eating chocolate. Okay, so we ask the client, what's the worst thing that would happen if you did stop eating chocolate? Inevitably, not inevitably, but more often than not, they will say nothing. Nothing would be bad if I could stop eating chocolate. Nothing would be bad, obviously, if I had cancer. Nothing. It's only good. It's only good. Okay. This is their ego talking. Their sense of reality is being. They think their sense of reality is being challenged. It kind of is, but we want to get around that. So first thing that usually I do when I run across, nothing would happen. It would only be good is I agree. I never, it's only my own particular style, I never challenge the person's intellect or ego. I don't say, no, you're wrong, you're an idiot. No, I don't do that. That just gets them even more tense and ready to fight. And fight as if they're fighting for their very survival, by holding on to their current perspective on the question. And I say, no, absolutely, of course, totally understand. Absolutely, I agree. There really is nothing that would be bad if you could, of course, get rid of cancer or stop eating chocolate or whatever the issue is. But do me a favor, and let's just play with a couple of ideas first, if that's okay, because basically you're right, of course. What that does is I'm telling the ego and the intellect of the person, and the person themselves often, that they're not wrong. That of course they're right, they're way smarter than I am, they can, I'm just this poor guy in front of them having a little chat. I'm not a threat to the way they see themselves or their world in any way, shape, or form. They're safe. So you want to make the client feel safe having the conversation with you. Then I'll say something like, let's pretend that if there was an answer, if you did know what the worst thing might be if you stopped eating chocolate or whatever, what would your subconscious, so they don't have to make up anything logical here, what weird, silly answer would your subconscious tell you might be a possible reason if there was a negative aspect about stopping to eat chocolate or whatever? And suddenly, boom, the gateways to the subconscious are open. The ego knows that it's still the smartest guy in town. The person in the ego do not perceive you, the client or the practitioner, as a threat, that they're in charge still. And then they can say, okay, we'll just play a stupid game. Ha ha ha. I'm going to humor Steve. Ha 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 ha. And they start coming up with really great stuff. An example of that, what's the worst thing if you stop eating chocolate? Nothing, of course. Blah, blah, blah. You're completely right. I completely agree. But let's play. If there was something, what might it be? Oh, well, then if I stopped eating chocolate, I'd be cranky. Oh, okay, cool. What might be the worst thing if you were cranky after stopping eating chocolate? Well, then I might actually be mean to my kids. Okay. Well, what's the worst thing if you were mean to your kids? Well, if I was mean to my kids, that might mean I'm like a bad mom. Well, what if you're a bad mom? Well, if I'm a bad mom, that means I'm failing at my purpose in life. What would happen if you're failing at your purpose in life? Oh, well, then God would be mad at me. What's the worst thing if God would be mad at you? Well, then God would never speak to me again, and I'd be lost in the nothing. The fear, the thing that's keeping them in this particular line of questioning, and this is just a theoretical, hypothetical case, it's not a literal case that I experienced, is I will become nothing, and I will be lost in nothing forever if I stop eating chocolate, because it leads down that path. So give them a chance to be right at the beginning. And then open the door with, you're not a threat, and let's just play with some ideas, because I agree with you, but let's just play and see what's there. Boom. People will start going deep faster than they realize. It's really cool. And then you can start doing some really great work. All right, more later.